second line. So if that line can keep it up, the pace they've been at this whole season, and they can keep Kane and Taves together, like that makes the entire team that much better.
Yeah, usually correct me if I'm wrong here. Usually in the postseason, we'll see Q put Kane and Taves together at times, and for some people, it kind of seems like he's panicking a little bit. But I think this is actually pretty smart. On most teams, you see like guys, top level guys playing the same line, don't you? Usually,
Yeah,
but in
no,
usually he likes to space those guys out. I don't know why, but I've noticed that the Taves and Kane playing on the same line has been very, very good so far.
Yeah, I mean, in the playoffs, I wouldn't say it's a panic move, but he'll put them on the same line, and then that line will just play huge shifts of the game. But if they can stretch it out over a whole season and put, if they can keep these current lines together, this team is, I mean, they're just built to go deep in the playoffs. And we saw Taves have kind of an off season last year offensively. He was still great defensively, but if you can get Johnny with Kane for a full season, look out, because that could be really, really good. I think we could see big point years from both guys.
And they're just learning how to play with each other again, kind of. Developing that chemistry again. And that is dangerous when you have the two best guys on your team developing that chemistry together. That could be something.
Exactly.
Be something huge. And so this Hawks streak here, they just swept the Stars in 2 games back-to-back. I know the Stars are pretty injury-riddled at this point.
Yeah.
Patrick Sharp's out, and they're not going to be the same team you'll be seeing later in the season. But it's always good to beat a division opponent and take all the possible points, especially in our division, the toughest division in hockey. So good to see that. What would you argue would be the more tougher division?
The Eastern Conference is looking a lot better this year. The Western Conference is kind of... I mean, the Oilers right now are leading the Pacific, so that tells you something.
That's true. That's true. I noticed that the other day.
Yeah.
And any thoughts heading into this rivalry matchup on Wednesday, Hawks and Blues?
Yeah, Corey Crawford will start. They lost their first matchup, but since that time, I think the young guys have found their spot and their role, and the Blues will be playing a much better Hawks team than the first game of the season.
Yeah, I believe that. The PK is better for this team, and this team is rolling right now, so I would not like to face the Hawks currently.
Yeah.
All right. You touched on this earlier. Let's talk some Bulls. Let's do this.
Yes.
Let's talk some
My
Bulls.
favorite team.
Blake's favorite team in all the land, the Chicago Bulls. So, remember when the Bulls got off to that 3-0 start?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a good time. They looked like a really good team.
I had a great time.
And Blake declaring them NBA champions when they were 3-0, and how they were going to take down LeBron and win the whole thing. Well, Blake, I'm not going to say I told you so, but here we are. We're sitting at 4-3.
Told me so.
The inconsistency is back, my friend.
Yeah.
And we'll touch on that a little bit as to why I believe the inconsistency is back. But currently 4-3 with a back-to-back coming up on Wednesday and Thursday. They got Atlanta on Wednesday, and then they're back in Miami for Dwayne Wade's homecoming, kind of.
That'll be fun.
On Thursday. I will be all over that game for Bulls Conf. It'll be a great time. Really looking forward to the reception that he's going to get. Hopefully they don't boo him, because
if they boo him, they're insane.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be too much. The guy won 3 championships. Come on.
Well, let's talk about some other people who got some mixed receptions.
Yeah.
Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah returned to the United Center, and the Bulls got beat by a Knicks team that frankly isn't better than they are, I don't believe. But the Knicks basically played their best game of the whole season. Derrick Rose got a mix of boos in the pregame intros. Noah got a lot of love, so that was good to see. I'm not sure how I feel about the Rose reception. I say you cheer for the guy, even though I'm not the biggest fan of him currently, and I wouldn't say I root for him. I think you have to respect what he did for the city of Chicago and how he single-handedly won you games for a very long time. He's not the same player he was, but he still contributed a lot to his organization and to the city. So the Knicks played their best game of the season. Porzingis got way more touches than he usually does, and they're running that pick and roll with Derek and Porzingis and also Noah and Rose. And the Bulls just could not defend the pick and pop with Porzingis, and then they could not defend Noah later in the game.
That seems to be a theme.
Yep, that pick and roll defense continues to be a theme for sure.
Yeah.
Robin Lopez is not good enough or not quick enough to pop out and guard big men on the perimeter. He is a great rim protector, but if you have a center who can pick and pop, look for teams to utilize that a bunch, especially with Robin on the floor. That will be a problem. Also, it doesn't help if your point guard can't guard at all, and Rajon Rondo has not been good defensively at all.
So I've heard from Jimmy Butler himself.
Yep, Jimmy Butler calling him out, telling him that he's switching when he's not supposed to be switching.
Yeah, he didn't call him out by name, but you can guess based on the context.
And even Fred called him out after this last game, after they beat up on the Magic by like 30-some points. He said they took Rajon out early. I don't know if you saw this. They took Rondo out first in the first quarter. Usually it's Jimmy or Wade. And they took Rondo out first, and they kind of had a Jimmy Wade point guard situation, which I love that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds like something that could work if they work on it, in practice and use it more in games. I feel like that could be something.
Well, Jimmy showed great court vision last night when he ran some sets, and if you bring in Rondo back in with that second unit and kind of surround him with shooters, that benefits him a ton because now the pressure isn't on him to shoot at all. He can kick out to Nico, Doug, Isaiah Cannon, all those guys, Bobby Portis.
And that's his whole game. I mean, like that's what he makes his money off of is the drive and kick. So
he lives for the assist. He over dribbles to get the assist. He is always looking for the assist all the time.
Yeah.
And this Magic team that the Bulls played, they are just very, very bad. There's no ball movement on their end, very stagnant offense. I mean, the final score was 80-112.
I've heard worse in the NBA.
Up there. Definitely up there. Aaron Gordon is fun sometimes. I really like Vucevic.
What happened to them? I feel like they were on the up like a couple of years ago, but now not so much.
I don't know. I don't think they have a very clear identity. I like Frank Vogel as a coach for sure, but he's more of a defensive-minded coach, and obviously you saw this team could not defend at all.
Yeah. I feel like he needs a little more talent too.
I mean, they have some of the rim protectors. They have Ibaka and Biyombo that they just got, but I mean, even they looked a little washed up last night, so it's interesting. But the Bulls, something that's been keeping them in games is their rebounding. They rank second in the league in rebounds per game, 49.6. And that's credit to Taj Gibson and Robin Lopez because they've been hitting the offensive boards really hard and keeping the ball alive for this team. And, now you have Jimmy, who's a pretty good rebounder. Wade can rebound. Rondo can rebound. So your whole starting five can rebound the ball.
Yeah, I feel like their best offense right now is even, putting up shots with those two guys on the floor because they're that good of rebounders right now. I mean, I don't want to say like that should be the whole offense, but I mean, that's how it's been so far.
Yeah, and the Bulls' offensive rating at this point is 110.2. That's very good. A very good offensive rating, which makes me scratch my head because the first 3 games, they looked great offensively. They were getting out and running, forcing turnovers, forcing missed shots on the other end, which enabled them to get out and transition. These last couple games, they haven't done that as much. And that offensive rating kind of has my head.
Yeah, that's actually kind of shocking to me. Like, I know they had a really, really strong start, but I didn't think it was that strong.
Yeah, and if you look at some of the advanced stats, they're worse with Rondo on the floor in like every single statistical category, even assist percentage. Their numbers go down. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you were a lot of Bulls fans, like straight Bulls fans who just that's their team. I feel like said that at the start of the season that Wade was Drew might have said that a couple times. But like we signed Wade and all these guys and it was looking good. I guess we signed Rondo probably before Wade actually.
Correct.
Right. Yeah, so that whole thing, never mind on that. But, they seem like, outside of Rondo, they seem like a team that could gel together and all that. But, Rondo is just kind of throwing the whole thing off right now.
Yeah, so a whole lot of question marks for this Bulls team. We'll know a lot more after this back-to-back. I think this will be a good kind of measuring stick for this team, see what they're really made of, how they respond to adversity.
I think we really can't look at it until, maybe like 30 or, maybe halfway through the season to see what this team really is. I think it's way too early to tell. I saw people talking about maybe this team being like an actually good team 3 games in this season, and now we're here. And so I just say leave it alone until, at least, I don't know, get a good month or 2 into the season before we'll know really what this team is.
Yeah, so I mean, only time will tell. Only time will tell. All right, the Bears are on a bye week.
Woo! We're on a bye week. Not anymore.
Not anymore. The bye week is over, but they were
past it.
They surpassed the bye week.
They won that week.
Bears win.
Bears win.
2-game winning streak, baby.
Look at that.
And the Bears are all healthy, which is a very, very good thing for probably the first time all year. That's fantastic news.
Eddie Goldman's back. Bryce Callahan is back. Eddie Royal's back. Marquise Wilson's back. Everyone's back except for Kevin White and Kyle Fuller, but that's a whole different thing. But, this team's looking, we'll see what this team is now, which I'm really happy about.
We saw their best performance of the season Monday Night Football a couple weeks back against the Vikings. Blake and I were there at the game. I do remember that game, even though it was so long ago.
So long.
And Sam Bradford looked like Sam Bradford again, and the Vikings were a hot mess, and they continue to be a hot mess.
Yeah, they're in a tailspin right now.
The whole NFC North really is not no bueno.
The 2 teams looking the best right now are maybe the Bears and the Lions. Not Bears, not really, but the Lions. Like what's going on right now? I don't know what's going on, but.
So does that change your pick in the division?
The Bears fan who's watched the Lions my whole life is telling me no. But, I do like what the Lions are doing on offense. And I think they got some players on defense that we didn't really, who have kind of emerged this season. So, right now everything is just so up in the air. I don't want to make any predictions because it's just so crazy right now. But I will say they are looking good, and they're definitely on the up as compared to like the Packers and the Vikings, who last like 3 weeks have just looked awful. I don't know.